What's up, y'all? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start this show by being transparent. Yesterday, I had one play and one winner. Tempo plus 13 and a half. Didn't get the best of the number. Didn't matter. Got to the window with it. So things continue to roll in the right direction. That puts me at now plus 119 units in 2026. Vino, it's good to be back with you. Hopefully, you had a profitable day as well.
Well, when we left the show, I didn't have anything that I played Skee, but then I did go ahead and play the Sky last night, -1.5. Unfortunate for me, they got close late to within 2 points, I think, and then did not get there. Seattle, shorthanded, even Seattle won that game. So it was an 0-1 with a small play. $5 Tuesday today. We get into that a little bit later, but the card looks a little more appealing today than it did yesterday. Yesterday was a little difficult.
Yeah, some stuff to like out there today for sure. Um, Looking at the comment section, appreciate you, Gio. Says the wager talk contest, but I think he's just talking about you know the unit count, I guess,
Hmm.
from the tweet that went out there. So appreciate you on that. And there was one more here. Oh, they're just debating the games. They're already capping the games, waiting on us, Vino. That's what it
Love it.
is. All right, let's get to it. We have three games on the slate for today. We will start at the top like we always do. That means New York and Indiana opened up -4.5 for the Fever. I'm seeing mostly 2.5s out there. Total open 191.5. I'm seeing it as high as 193.5. For an injury report, you do have Caitlin Clark probable. The Liberty remain without Fevich and Satu. Um, these teams are both rested, both well rested, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I do know the last time the Liberty played the Fever, it wasn't even close. They lost by I think like 20 points. You know, we've been looking at this Liberty team. We've talked about how much the defense has kind of been lacking without Phoebus, etc. How they, all of those things. They've somehow still found a way, even if they haven't been covering. They found a way to win 8 of their last 9 games. The Fever, what are they like? They did face some tough competition. They played the Aces, the Lynx, and they had a easier one versus Sky, but they haven't covered any of their last games. You know, neither one of these teams play defense either. I can understand why the total is in the 190 range. I guess that makes me think, I can only look towards an over, and you know how I usually feel. I don't like to lay points with teams that I can't trust to get stops. What do you think about this game?
Well, a couple of things here. If I start with the standing Ski, the reason why New York's starting to win some games here is because they had slid all the way to the 8 seed at one point, and they're still not all that secure from the 8 seed. They're only a game ahead of the Wings, who are currently sitting in eighth. Indiana tied with Atlanta for the 4 seed. Win here by Indiana would put them in the 4 seed ahead of Atlanta. And of course, everybody's trying to get into that top four, top two especially, but top four for sure. You want a home floor first round. Um, Fundamentally in this game, Ski, I just like what we've been saying about New York over the course of the last 2.5 weeks, and even the chat has jumped in. And I further it by saying, teams that play extreme tempo the way Indiana does are problematic for New York right now. They're just not only don't they defend, but they don't defend a lot because they're not quick. There's just nobody quick on the floor for New York. And we saw that in the second half of that meeting that you talked about back on July 18 when Indiana scored 108. That second half, they just absolutely took a blowtorch to the New York defense and pushed pace and pushed pace and pushed pace. In New York, they scored 88, just couldn't stop anything because they're just not, I don't know, their foot speed is lacking on the defensive side. I think that's advantage Indiana here. I really didn't understand. Well, first of all, I didn't understand Indiana being 4.5 to begin with. And then I guess I should have understood the take back on New York. But at this price tag, I don't want any part of New York. I know they can score. That's great. But I think in this matchup where it's going to be who can score, who can outscore the other team and what should be a high scoring game, I take Indiana in this matchup just because in New York defensively, for me, if you're a methodical, pedestrian, take it up the floor type of team where they can set up their half court defense, I'm okay with that. If Becky's going to walk in on Sunday into your place and just schedule a loss, okay, I'll be on New York. But Indiana's not scheduling any loss here, and I think their style is not a good match for New York as far as being a high scoring game. Who can score the most? I'll try Indiana here.
All right. We'll move it on over to Mercury and Sparks. Opened up -1.5 for Phoenix. It has flipped. I see -2 out there for Los Angeles. Total opened 179.5. And I see that down a couple of points to 177.5. Makani, game time decision for the Sparks here. Kelsey Plum looks like she's unavailable for this Mercury team. Um, and the Mercury, they did have that little stretch prior to All Star break and a little after All Star break where they're playing hard and they're saying the right things, trying to make a push for the playoffs, but writing is kind of on the wall now, and they're just not good enough. It's been very hard to back the Mercury the past couple games. I haven't backed them, and thankfully I didn't because they haven't been covering. I would go with the home Sparks. I mean, I think that Derek Hamby, NECA should be able to do what they, handle business in the paint. And just being at home here and just how bad Phoenix has been playing, I would only look towards the Sparks on the side, agreeing with the line movement. Do you see it that way, Vino?
I do, skiing for a couple of the reasons that you mentioned. I just think that Phoenix has to be a demoralized team at this point in time. Like you said, Clay Copper came out and they wanted that push for the playoffs. And when they got Kelsey Plum, it was all rainbows and sunshine. And so quickly it happened, right? It happened faster than you could blink your eyes. They just played themselves out of the playoffs. Boom, 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 you're done. They have no shot of getting in anymore. They're all the way down to 12th in the standings. Um, a veteran team, I don't know how they get back up for a game like this against Los Angeles. If they do, credit the head coach, Nate Tibbetts, credit to the players. But I have to believe that what they wanted to get, they can't get now. And it could just be a free fall for them, especially without Kelsey Plum. There's no real point guard on the team at this point. I mean, I guess AT takes over running the show, which she did for a short span during the season already when they had no point guard. But you take her out of, away from the rim, and it's just not good for Phoenix. So to me, I think that that's a disadvantage spot for Phoenix. I also think that the travel schedule is not good for Phoenix here, right? They're in their fifth straight road game. And this one is a cross-country flight. They played everything on the East and then fly to LA all PO'd because you're not going to make the playoffs. Again, I think the motivational aspect, the travel aspect, both go against the Mercury. Going to have to make some position changes now without Kelsey Plum. And, they were just getting used to playing with her and how the shot distribution is going to go and how the ball is going to get or how the rotations are going to go, et cetera. And now she's gone. You have to start from scratch. LA, I think, whenever a team plays Golden State, I should have looked this up, Skee. But I think after you play Golden State and you face that defense, which is like being in prison against Golden State, teams generally, you see a Phoenix defense that sits here and ranks number 11 in defensive rating last 5 games, giving up 92 plus. LA loves to score. They should be happy to see this defense here. They've already beaten Phoenix twice this year. I think they're 2-1 in the season series. And LA's, I think you said it. If you didn't, I'll say it. They're playing hard. They're 4-1 against the spread last 5. So for me, opener was to me, a really nice play, taking 1.5 for Los Angeles. Here, you can still only lay 1.5. The number kind of jumps all over the place, but I think the Sparks are the right side.
All right. The chat doesn't like what has been said, and I'm going to defend it. I'm going to defend it. I'm going to put a couple comments on here, and I'm going to explain. Brandon says Sparks have no chance to make the playoffs. Both teams have no chance to make the playoffs. Sparks in exact situation. Sammy says, How are the Sparks not demoralized? I would ask, who did the Sparks play in the playoffs last year? Oh, they didn't even make it, right? Nobody's expecting this team to do anything. Nobody's expecting this team to do great. The Mercury just were in the WNBA finals. I get they didn't play well, but they're not expected to come be as terrible as they've been this year. And even when they saying the things that they're going to try and this and that, it's still not happening. It's a humongous disappointment for the Mercury this season. It's nowhere near the same amount of a failure for the Sparks. So that would be my reasoning. Anything else you would like to add, Vino?
Well, I would just say the demoralized part is simple. LA's 4-1 against the spread their last five, and they haven't been a playoff contender. They traded away Kelsey Plum. They basically told the team, we're not going anywhere. You know what they did? They went 4-1 against the spread as soon as they traded her. So obviously, one team is still playing. I anticipate the other side, which wanted to be in the playoffs and now realizes they're not going to be there and is full of veteran leadership. Copper, Bonner, Thomas, the main three on that team, all veterans. Nothing to look forward to now. Hey, Charles Barkley usually calls it going fishing, right? Their minds are going to be elsewhere. And then you take a cross-country flight to add to it. I just think the situation is really bad for Phoenix. And I know LA's got their defensive flaws. We're not trying to say LA some type of, put them on a pedestal type team. But what we're saying is one side is still showing us that they're covering numbers even after they traded their star, and the other side wanted something that now is not going to happen. So I think I would defend it that way. The demoralized part, I think, totally lies in Phoenix's lap and not in LA's.
Yeah, they just went all in and said, let's get Plum and try to really make this push and
Right.
fell flat. Um, yeah, I mean the market, flip of favorites. I don't know what else we need to say. Next game. Mystics and Aces. Opened up -7.5, down to 6.5 for the Aces. Total opened up 167.5. Looks like, I mean, I see it as high as 171. Nobody on the injury report for the Mystics. And Kirsten Bell, Dana Evans, and Cheyenne Parker Tyus look like they're going to miss for this Aces team. Aces are coming off of a crazy blowout loss, but they did sit the big three. They will be back in action tonight. Very, very fresh. But they face a Mystics team who, I mean, they've been on fire. The hottest, or one of the hottest teams in the WNBA for sure. Um, it's not going to be easy to go in there and win this game by margin. The Mystics have some length. I don't know. Whenever I see Asia go up versus some of the big centers, or at least maybe it's just lately, I feel like it's not the same Asia. I worry about the Aces. Usually they do respond off of a loss. You know, I know standings wise, you can even see Washington creeping towards the Aces here. It's just tough to lay that 7.5. I mean, Washington's probably going to be a popular dog, but they've been good as an underdog all season. Um, yeah, it's tough to go against Washington here. What do you think, Vino?
Yeah, and there's been Washington money, right? I saw as low as 5.5 on this game. Um, a lot of Washington money. I think a couple of things here, Ski. The scheduled loss by Becky Hammond, who came out and admitted, you know, we're taking this loss for the long term, the bigger picture. She actually said, um, I really don't care about seed. I care way more about being healthy than I do about what seed we're going to be. So I don't know if she truly means that they're not going to push for number two, because number two is a huge advantage over being one and two are the coveted spots here. So I do think that she said that. I get what she meant. Let's put it that way. I don't think she meant we don't mind sliding all the way to six. She meant, we'll give up one game so that we're healthy later. Scoring generally not an issue for the Aces when the big three are in there, core three, whatever you want to call them. I don't know that it'll be in this game. Prior to that outing on Sunday, when they only scored 71, Las Vegas had run off an 8-game stretch where they averaged 97 a game and scored 98 or more in 5 of those. So they have been putting up a ton of points as of late. Face Washington, you talked about it, Ski. They're 7-0 straight up against straight up, and they've scored 90 or more 5 times in those 7 games. So the offense has come around. So you look, and to start the season, I don't know, for a couple of months, I said their inside play is nice, but there's no guard play. Well, the interior's been awesome. Sonia Citron has been awesome. She's their leading scorer. But I think their scoring increase as of late, like I say, 90 plus in 5 of their last 7, some of it due to opposition. I get that. But all of a sudden, you see Cody McMahon, 11 points per game, her last 5. Lauren Betts, 8 rebounds, average over her last 5. She was only averaging like 4.2 until these last 5 games. They're getting contributions off the bench that they weren't getting, and they're scoring more. For Washington, I see a couple of defensive weaknesses here. If you just dig into the statistics that Las Vegas can take advantage of, Washington's not a good team defending mid-range, and Las Vegas thrives there. Washington number 12 over the last 10 games, mid-range percentage given up. Vegas number 5 offensively. Vegas does not turn the ball over at all. Washington doesn't force turnovers, so you would think that Las Vegas possessions are clean in this game. But then you look to the Washington inside dominance. How about Washington? Washington, number 1 in offensive rebound percentage, number 4 in second chance points, number 2 in free throw rate. You started talking about this last week, that they get to the line. And Vegas in those 3 categories are 14, 12, and 8. So I'm starting to build this case here for over. I can understand why people are on over, because when I look at both sides, I see areas where each offense can exploit the other one. And these teams are running so well. I think the only thing, Skee, that would stop me from making this a bigger money play is the schedule. Las Vegas comes back home first off of a 5-game road trip at home, right? And Washington had 6 at home. And now they go west. But I will say this, when we do NBA, I talk about this a lot. I always think the first game of a road trip is the one where the team gets off the plane ready to roll. I think Washington will be ready to roll. And I think that what Becky did Sunday makes the big 3 ready to roll here. So good game. I think the market's correct on total. And just to emphasize what you said earlier, believe it or not, Washington is 1 game behind Atlanta for that number 4 spot. Washington could easily be the 4 seed the way they're playing right now. So a lot to play for both sides. I think the money was right when they came in on over, especially at that early number.
All right, good stuff. That is the card for today. So we will wrap it up. We'll go ahead and toss up that good old $5 Tuesday. You go to Rob's page, my page. You can find a top play for just $5. It's a good way to check us out. Or, if you've already checked us out, you just want to rock with us for the day, that's the way to do it. If you want anything a little bit longer term, say, I want Skee and Veno 3-day all access. You can get the 2-for-1, only $69. You say, I don't know about that, Skee. Just give me Rob Veno. Buy 3, get 3 free, 6 days for $69. So a few different ways to get involved. And we don't usually do best bets on Tuesday. So we're not. But Veno, is there anything else you want to leave us with before we get out of here?
No, I don't think there is.
All
I
right.
think you covered it all. The promos are there. Other than that, I don't think there's anything to add here. I will let it go as is.
You know what? I'm very, very close to a 5% play. I really am. For tomorrow, though, not for today. My play for today is already up for $5 Tuesday, but just giving you guys a heads up. Those people who like to get in early, I'm very, very close to putting one up for tomorrow. And I will shout this out once more or again because, we keep winning. I know the numbers aren't current just because I don't have the updated one, but 5% best bets are now 20-7 the last 2 seasons. And yeah, everything just continues to climb. I won yesterday, won the day before. So if you want to get NBA early bird, if you want to rock with me there, you can get the rest of the WNBA season for free. And yeah, a lot of different ways to get involved. So we'll wrap it up like that, Veno. Always good capping the games with you. Chat, appreciate you all. Best of luck, everybody, on all your action. Looks like we have 3 more games to talk about tomorrow, and we will catch you all then.